Hi, 7 o'clock. Let's call this meeting to order, please. Everyone, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Rich, you didn't see anyone dancing, did you?
No,
Okay.
they're all out.
Roll call, please.
Here.
Listen,
Present.
Butcher,
Here.
Machuski,
Here.
Freers,
Here.
Alcázar,
Here.
Chirulis,
Here.
Hernandez.
Here.
A quorum is established.
Do we have any citizen comments this evening on anything that's on the agenda?
Yes.
Please approach the podium, sign in, and state your name for the record, please.
You forgot amendments to the agenda.
Oh,
There are
sorry.
none.
There is one right here.
Is there?
Yes.
Okay, we'll do that next.
You want me to wait?
No, you're fine.
All right. Name is Andrew Graham, live in Countryside. Just like to thank the city council for finding a hearing in advance of the vote and clarifying the language of the non-highway vehicle ordinance here in Yorkville. It goes to show good faith effort that the disabled people in this community are heard by the city council. I'd also like to thank personally Bart Olson, Kathleen Fieldor, and my attorney Rachel Offer of Equip for Equality for handling all the behind-the-scenes communication between the city and myself. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other citizen comments on items that are on the agenda this evening? Do we have any amendments to tonight's agenda?
I do.
Okay.
I would like to remove number 4, BW 2017-60, so I can vote for the consent agenda.
You got it. We'll
Thank
put
you.
number 4 under Public Works. Do we have any other amendments?
Can I read my packet?
Duh.
All those in favor of approving consent agenda as amended, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, what do we have next here? Bills, minutes, mayor's report.
Well, none.
Excuse me, point
Yes.
of order. Did we make a motion on that, on the amendment? Was it somebody
Yeah,
make a,
no, we just,
Yeah.
we just said aye.
who seconded?
I heard Chris second it.
That's what I heard too.
Which Chris?
Okay.
Cut out
point of
Chris
order.
or real Chris?
Sorry.
Ah, you guys are
The clerk
getting
came out in
technical
me.
on me tonight.
So who's so moved?
It's my fault.
Well,
It's my fault.
Carla made the, okay, it's
So we got
seconded
both in,
now.
right?
Yes.
Just
Carla made the
It's a
motion.
voice vote. It's a
Motion was
motion
made
to
by-
second. I heard Jackie make the motion, I heard Chris second. I
No.
think.
No, I made the motion
Oh,
Carla,
there you go.
to amend the agenda.
You guys want to just start over?
No.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to authorize Lane Christensen to repair and reinstall all components of well number 9 using all new pipe for a cost not to exceed $174,000, $174,076.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Comments or questions?
This is it, right?
Right here. This is it. Okay.
Roll call, please.
Butcher,
Aye.
Freers,
Aye.
Chirulis,
Aye.
Colosimo,
Aye.
Alcázar,
Aye.
Machuski,
aye.
Hernandez.
Aye.
Vote.
Aye.
Motion passes.
So we will move on to Public Works Committee report, which I will turn over to Alderman Frieders.
All right, we'll stick with the agenda first. Public Works, we have the first reading of the ordinance amending the water use and service regulations. So since there's no comments, basically.
Oh, I have a comment.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I was just being polite and waiting.
Yeah, I was gonna let him rock it, but, you know, Mr. Carlo, please
Thank
proceed.
you. I guess my concern is in multiple unit buildings, the mandating that each unit have a separate meter, which is good. But if that is not feasible, if there are delinquent accounts in a multi-unit building, the entire building gets shut off. I don't know about that. I mean, you got a 4-unit building, family 1, 2, and 3 are paying their water bill, whether it's directly to the city or to the landlord or however they do it. And number 4 is not paying. That's problematic. And I understand that with a 4-unit building and 1 meter, that the landlord's probably paying it. But I mean, I've gotten these calls in the last 3 weeks. Well, my tenant didn't pay me, so I'm not paying the water bill. But the other 3 people have paid. So we're cutting off 3 families or 2 families or 1 family who've paid their portion to the landlord. I don't know. I just have a problem with that. So that's something I'm just pointing it out.
Which section of the ordinance is that in? I guess
Well, I'm just looking at it from, I'm looking at it from the memo prepared by, in the case that it is not feasible, that meaning that each unit have their own meter.
Right.
If there are delinquent accounts in the multi-unit building, the entire building may be shut off if it is attached by 1 meter to all units. So you got 3 paying families and 1 maybe delinquent person. And we're now putting these 3 people in. And I already see Kathy shaking her head, ready to yell at me.
No, I mean, this is a traditional problem. The water is, in a rental unit, is the liability, the responsibility of the owner. And when the owner doesn't pay the bill, because unless it's separately metered, as you say, how do you know who's paid the bill or who hasn't paid the bill? You don't know. And to eliminate the right to turn off water, because traditionally, water is supposed to be supplied by the landlord. If he doesn't, they have grounds for eviction. They can call, they have civil opportunities for breach of the terms of the lease. But you can't just say, because none of us know what portion of the rent is even attributable to the water bill. So you can't say the other 3 are paying. You're saying their rent isn't delinquent.
Right, I assume in a 1 metered 4-unit building, the landlord has worked his carrying costs into the rent, including a water bill. Some landlords might be petulant and say, well, 1 tenant is not paying their rent, hence I'm not paying, or they might make partial payment on their water bill. They pay 75% of the water bill, because that's what they receive.
The liability they would have to the other tenants is extreme. And we can't, that's getting involved in their civil contract between each other through their lease agreement. Lease agreement says the landlord's required to provide water and the landlord isn't doing it. I mean, there's no other way to hold property owners responsible in the event there is a rental property. And as you point out, it does not necessarily have to be a 4-unit. It could even be, I rent to you, I don't pay the water bill, the water's cut off because that is what I have maintained and the lease is my responsibility.
Yeah, but that, right, if the.
So what I'm saying is, everyone could have paid their rent and the landlord still doesn't make the payment. There's no way to have accountability without that provision.
Kathy, can you talk about like the discretion within the ordinance for us to implement that, like, the operational side, as far as it being a may shut off? So that, I mean, would we need a policy that said if there are 10 units in a building and 1 person is 1 month late and the other 9 are paying, that, you know, we would maybe not shut that person off versus the reverse scenario where there's 10 units and 9 of them aren't paying?
Yes, we can develop a policy like that. However, the fact of the matter is the landlord is making the profit. So the landlord should be held accountable for failing to meet the responsibilities that he has under his lease.
But,
Yeah,
but
but,
the language of the ordinance would allow us the discretion
Yes.
to be able to.
Yes.
make
But on the north
policy.
side, you have the, where the condos are, and this, what is it?
Bristol Bay.
Bristol Bay, thank you.
Bristol Bay is the same.
And, yeah, some of those units are all metered under 1 meter, right?
Not those.
They're all around 50 meters.
Are they?
Scratch that.
And what has been our experience with a multifamily rental, non-payment of water?
But back to Bristol Bay real quick though. But weren't there issues when there was a water issue? Because there was one water line, we had to close everybody,
Sprinkler. It's fire suppression. That was fire suppression.
and they're all hooked together?
Yes,
Okay.
because that's not needed.
But didn't we discussed this in Public Works, I think, there aren't any multi-units with one.
There's, I asked the question, and I
Yeah.
think there was, they
No,
told me
there
there was
is
one.
one.
One on Powers Court is what I was told. Is that the only one?
I would say the vast majority of multifamily units that have one water service are homes that were converted to duplexes, in the 70s or 80s, what I've seen and going out doing inspections. I know of 2 in the city limits right now, and those are one water service, they're individually metered. So at that point, the city could shut off those waters independently, but most of the big multifamily, anything built since the late 80s residential will almost always have individual water services that are not individual, go to 1 meter room, and then it'll branch off each individual unit has 1 meter there. They might have 1 water feed, but all the units individually metered.
We do have some in Powers Court that were built in the late 70s, early 80s. That's one service, 3 to 4 units. And what we do there is we actually work with the landlord if he has one tenant that's not paying, and we actually go in, and he has shut off the water, and we have tagged it. So it's just the one. We do work with them to try to do anything we can to not shut the whole building.
Thank you.
I have a question. In a 4-unit building, why is it that you have 4 service charges when there's only 1 line in and 1 line out? Why is there 4 service charges for these people? I don't see the fairness or that issue at all. If you've got a building and you got 1 line in, water line, and you got a sewer line out, why is there 4 service charges? Most of the time, these water bills are all service charges. There's nothing that people use. There's no water being used or nothing. Same way when the tenant moves out, the landlord gets billed, and there's no water being used. All the charges are just service charges. That's not right. That is not right at all. You're being charged for something that you didn't use. If you can say that about every gas station in Yorkville, there, same way. Okay, you've got a gas station sitting there, we're gonna charge every individual a certain amount of money because we're here. This is not right. I think this should be changed, the building should be changed. Granted, there needs to be a service charge, but not 4 of them for 1 building. When a tenant moves out, then the landlord is charged for a service charge for that particular unit, that there's nothing, no water being used, no sewer, no nothing. No water treatment plant being used, nothing, no charge. It's free money for the city. It's like stealing, really. There's no difference in stealing.
Thank you, sir. Well, we're past the portion of citizen comments in this meeting. I would recommend if you would like to discuss this more, you show up at a Public Works Committee meeting. If you were to reach out to staff, they can give you dates and times. And we can put something on the agenda and you can come to a committee meeting and discuss it. Okay, we're not really at that point in this meeting right here. Okay, thank you.
All right?
Anything else on this? Yes.
I shared some of the same concerns Arnold Lismo had. I guess what I'd really like to see then is the land, if you're gonna charge the owner of the building on a deed for his 4 units, then he needs to be notified as soon as possible from us that someone is at default. So he doesn't, because he technically, if he gets an estimate and an actual reading, and then it could be 2 or 3 payments into the process, I think we did say we're gonna change it to 30 days, but does that notice go right to the landlord or to the person that had the billing that didn't pay?
However, the landlord wishes to set up the account on the property, we will notify them in accordance with their wishes. So if a landlord prefers to receive notice and have the tenant's name on the account and have the tenant do all the front-end administration, registration, then they'll get notice as soon as the tenant does. The way the billing system works is you use your water for 2 months, we go out, we run the water meter, we print out the bill at the end of that month. And so typically you get notified of like your April, May usage in maybe early July, and then that bill is due at the end of July generally. So that process really can't be changed as far as like the lag time in there, just because that's how long it takes to read the meters and set up the minimum payment. So the scenario I think you're worried about is a tenant skipping town, the landlord has, $800 worth of back payments. And that's the same risk that every property has generally throughout the city. In that if they skip town without paying it, you can have $1,000 water bill after a couple months of usage. And fees, that is left sitting there until we leave the property.
But can we have it where as soon as it's not paid, past their payment due date, a notice gets sent to the person who owns the structure?
Yes, I believe our system is set up such that every time a bill gets sent out with the tenant's name on it, the landlord has opted to set up the account that way. They get notified at the exact same time.
Okay, so then, I know they get a chance to pass due bill to pay it up, so I just want to make sure the landlord knows.
Yeah.
Before that.
But Ken, are you talking about a building that has separate water
I'm
meters?
talking about like, okay, you have a house that was turned into 4 units.
Right,
And let's say they're each individually on a,
individual meter.
they're paying their
Okay.
bill. Because the people we're gonna go after aren't the people that are actually the bill, they go out the way and say, see, I don't care. But it's gonna go to the landlord, the person who owns the building, and he's gonna be stuck with it. I just think he should have a notice right away when it's in past due. It's something I think is fair.
Yeah, the minute it goes late and we send out that secondary notice, the landlord can also get a copy of that at the exact same time. So
he
tenant
knows.
does, as long as you set up your account like that. Yes.
But what recourse does the landlord have though? Like, if one of my tenants isn't paying their water bill, why do I care if I get notified? Odds are they're not paying their rent either. And what am I gonna do?
But you're gonna take on that extra debt that just happened, let's say it's 2 more months before it actually gets cashed in, the debt, you're gonna be paying that.
Is that, we hold the property owner liable
Yes,
for a
yes.
tenant that skips out?
Yes. Ultimately, our system is set up such that the property owner is always liable.
Yeah, that's how I thought it was.
That's why it's better to have one meter and just roll into the rent,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I don't believe, and we talked about this a little bit, but I don't believe the plumbing code and the existing building codes would allow that to occur in the future. So all the buildings that are currently set up that way are basically grandfathered in until they decide to do renovations. And then, so we should never have this issue in the future. It should all be 1 meter per each unit.
Or you have a competent local attorney draft your lease, which states that if you default on your water bill, that is a violation of the lease agreement,
Correct.
and you don't use an office max lease.
Correct.
So instead of shoring up your lease, just say it.
So your answer to Ken's question is, it's the responsibility for the landlord to duplicate that bill.
Yes. Yes.
The city doesn't just do it, it has, when you put this paperwork out.
Correct. Whenever you sign up for a new water account, property owners can have the obligation to put, or can have the option to put it under the landlord or the tenant. And you can put it under the tenant's name. They have the ability to duplicate notices within the system so that the tenant and the landlord always get the same notice. So it's there.
So if there's no police, this is first reading, it's moving for vote.
Anything else on this one?
So those will be back in front of Public Works on the 17th next month.
The first order or first reading process usually just means you take the city council once, and then it's back in front of city council for the next meeting. To the extent that you wanted to talk about the subsection of this ordinance, you can either take the whole thing back to public works, or you can approve everything else, and then deal with that single issue separately, which I guess is what would be my recommendation. There's a separate issue.
Well, I mean, if you have concerns, please show up to the meeting on the 17th, let's talk about it. But I think one of the, it's kind of funny how you made the comment, and then as we're talking about it, the explanation kind of, that's why they're metered out individually. Because if you have the city chasing around one landowner, trying to figure out which one of their tenants isn't paying their water, then that's an administrative duty that can be automatically done. So the reason why we invest in each individual property or unit that's condoed out on a property to be individually metered is to avoid this. Because administrative costs and checking up higher and higher up the chain, that's what wastes city money. So I've never thought of it as free money. We invested in the meter, we invested in the infrastructure, you're gonna be living here. And if you wanna live here, you kinda wanna flush your toilets and drink water. So I think it makes sense to invest in a clean and an accurate way of documenting who owns what, who's paying for what, and if you don't pay for it, who gets penalized for it. So yeah, let's bring it back to committee. Please show up October 17th, 6 p.m. Hopefully we'll have finger sandwiches and stuff. But let's talk about it.
But we'll have a city council meeting before that.
Right, so we're gonna put this off so that we can talk to him about it in
Public
17th.
Works.
So you want a motion to return it to Public Works?
The entire ordinance or just the section that is in question?
When you open a can of worms, I don't think one will.
The discussion of the notice issue and the billing and the single, like turnoff for, 4 units is a small percentage and isn't even really being changed from our existing ordinance.
Right, well, I
So
think
everything
we're gonna do
else
it,
is-
I'd like to do it as a sandwich, not as an
Okay.
individual slice of bread.
Yes, Joe.
Pete, doesn't the plumbing code mandate allow this?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of this mandated by plumbing code. Every individual resident has to have the ability to turn on and off their own water. And that's for emergency situations. Things stop those off under your toilet and your garbage floors. You want to be able to shut the water main off so you can have a plumber out to fix that. There's a lot of things to do with that. You technically could have one water service and one water meter by the plumbing code, but the only people that would be able to have access to that meter would be the city employees to shut individual units on and off. And each individual unit would have to have their own water main shut off also. But the reason why the city would only would have access to that water meter would prevent a landlord or a owner of property from indiscriminately shutting off tenants whenever they want. Because as a citywide, we're not, my understanding is that we're not obligated to furnish water if you don't pay the water bill. But as a landlord-tenant relationship, property maintenance code and generally we ask code enforcement, the landlord can't terminate certain critical life services, such as water, sewage removal, heat, where those things are mandated in the code to be provided for a tenant. Air conditioning is not, that's considered a luxury. But yeah, so you could get around it, but you'd have to do a lot of tip code, you'd have to have find out to save on to make sure they were all on route, that's interpretation of the code. As you know, it's pretty, it's kind of a, this is what we think, and then call us if you don't know what we think, so. But in the past, that's what the city inspectors have told me.
So you've been working on it for 2 years, what's 2 more weeks, right?
That's fine, I just don't think that anything that you're talking about, either questioning or being proposed to be changed from the audience is reflected in any of the changes that have been proposed.
Totally 100% understood.
Okay.
All right, so that was the first reading, to be continued.
So did you want to go back to committee or no?
Oh, yeah, we're gonna make a
Don't
motion.
need
So
to-
motion to return it.
I make a motion to bring it back to committee.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Vote made second.
Yeah.
Raiders,
Aye.
Corliss,
Aye.
Morrisville,
Aye.
Monpezor,
Aye.
Wilczewski,
Aye.
Hernandez,
Aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Butcher.
Aye.
All right, I make a motion to approve authorizations number 1 and 2 on the Kennedy Road Shared Use Path, ITEP, and authorize the city administrator to execute.
So moved.
Comments, questions? Roll call, please.
Morrisville,
Nay.
Monpezor,
Aye.
Wilczewski,
Aye.
Hernandez,
Aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Butcher,
Aye.
Raiders,
Aye.
Corliss.
Nay.
Nay.
Nay?
Nay.
Passes.
Okay, no economic development committee report, no public safety report. Admin committee, we have one item.
Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve a resolution approving the Seventh Amendment Intergovernmental Cooperation Agreement for the participation in the Aurora Area Convention and Visitors Bureau, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute.
Second.
Comments or questions?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
What happened to our master plan of just doing this year by year? I mean, that was, we discussed it several times over the last couple of years.
It wasn't expired, now it's October. So that was a plan.
And now we got a 5-year plan with
No,
renewable after, what, 2 or 3?
two.
After 2.
Two in each year after that.
Right, you got enough out after 2.
That was the
So we-
plan,
right.
if we were gonna bounce in October, in Saturday is October.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir, go ahead.
The plan that we are just about to expire on, that was a 5-year plan with 2 years out. So keep in mind, the past 2 years, this item has been in committee under review and discussion for alternatives every single month, almost, like I said, for the past 2 years. So it has been a year to year after we got to our third year. And consensus of the committee was to stick with it as we were. This is where a municipal marketing program came to light as let's try to refocus the funds, or a major portion of the funds that Yorkville puts into it, to get something back more directly. The proposal that's in front of you is a 5-year with a second, third, and fourth year out. And that was something that came about out of our committee meeting as compared to something that was proposed by the CVB. The CVB had a standing 5-year with 2 outs, the exact same contract we had before. So what we're asking is more flexibility through the committee than what the CVB had wanted.
Yes, ma'am.
Another thing that was discussed, which I'm kind of confused if we, bear with me, we talked about that Aurora caps at a certain amount of money. We're the second contributor, and we kind of, the committee tossed around like, is there a way to get us have a cap or them to lose the cap? So if we approve this, how are we moving forward with that?
So the outcome of that conversation, my understanding was that the 2-year out would allow us to review after 1 year of seeing where the second hotel generation would be. And so we were throwing out numbers, but then we decided that if the hotel gets constructed at the end of 2018, which is, the TIF agreement deadline, and then it's open for all of 2019, then that allows us to have the conversation to opt out after probably 9 months worth
Okay,
of.
thank you for, thank you for refreshing my memory.
And if I may, that also does put us on the end date with the city of Aurora. So what that would allow us to do is discuss and negotiate at the same time, if necessary, with Aurora. If we see our hotels are performing very well, our contribution goes up, we would have the ability to ask them to start to renegotiate fairly and raise their cap. That's the timing. That's why we went to the 2.
From a process mechanism to, since this agreement was presented to us by the AACBB board after already been approved by them, my guess is they will either have to go and reapprove it on their end, in which case we can just sign the agreement, or if they come back to us with a change in the agreement to accomplish this that's different than the one that we drafted, we would have to approve it again. So this is an adoption. If they accept this, then we'll sign it. If not, you'll have to go on again at some point in the future. And then just as a little bit of a reminder, the last time that we did this, the agreement didn't change. We just approved it within the resolution, a contingency that they would have the municipal marketing pilot shift program. So we structured the actual approval on our end a little different, such that the agreement itself didn't change. It was like our memorialization of the agreement. So we're doing it, the actual meat of the agreement is going to change.
Anything else? Roll call.
Tarulis,
Aye.
Bellissimo,
Aye.
Longcasser,
Aye.
Machuski,
Aye.
Hernandez,
Aye.
Pope,
Aye.
Fletcher,
Aye.
Raiders.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, nothing from Park Board, Planning and Zoning. Any city clerk's report? Community and liaison reports. Anybody? Staff reports? Additional business? I did have one thing I wanted to mention. After the last city council meeting, so about 2 weeks ago, we were invited to the APA, American Planning Association, Illinois chapter, to receive an award for our comprehensive plan. We were awarded the Daniel Burnham Award from the APA Illinois chapter for an exceptional comprehensive plan. I'd like to thank Christy and her team for all the work on it. I know it was a long process, a lot of citizen involvement, a lot of focus groups, and this puts us in a spot to where we could be nominated for the National Daniel Burnham Award, which is a big, big deal. So very nice to see all that hard work recognized. So thank you, Christy.
Can we clap?
You can clap. Any other additional business? I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session for
Pending litigation.
pending litigation.
I will second said motion, or first it if need be.
Roll call.
Trulis.
Aye.
Machuski.
Aye.
Colosimo.
Aye.
Fletcher.
Nay.
Hernandez.
Aye.
Cook.
Aye.
McCaffrey.
Aye.
Frears.
Nay.
Oh, knock it off.
I don't want to hear what I'm about to hear. How do you know what you're about to hear?